everybody. Oh, yeah, welcome back to another hot episode of a very special podcast. This is the podcast in which we talk about all of your favorite TV series from yesteryear and then discuss it over a charming glass of wine. I'm your boy, one of your hosts, Patrick M. Dunn, and I'm joined here, as always, by my right-hand woe-man, Kat Halstead, the author. Welcome back, Kat. How are you?
Hello. I am fabulous. I'm going to sip my coffee, wake up a little more.
Yeah, need a little time to wake up.
You know.
I drag her out of bed to talk about episodes of classic television.
Yes.
All for you. All for you guys out there. All for all of you, all 11 of you.
He makes me get up. He makes me do stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, let's be real. I'm usually the one who's like, Patrick, we got to get this shit together.
Yeah, that is true. I think I canceled on you the last few times.
Yeah, and I'm like, God damn it, Patrick. My favorite is I'm at like a freaking long-ass shift at work, and I get home, and I'm freaking like exhausted. I'm like getting into bed, and I'm checking my messages because I'm a good girl, and I don't read them while I drive.
Ooh, look at you.
All I could do is say, dude.
Yeah.
And you're like, I'm just leaving.
I was like, hey, by the way, I'm going away for 3 days tomorrow morning when we were originally scheduled to record. Let's do this Monday. And you just said, dude. And then I never reply. I don't reply for 3 days.
I'm just like, you asshole. Then you just sent me a picture of Mayberry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I went to Mayberry, guys. I went to Mount Airy.
That's literally what happened.
Mount Airy, North Carolina. Drove through there. It's the town where Andy Griffith was born. And he based his infamous show, The Andy Griffith Show, and all the various spinoffs. Mayberry RFD, I think, is one, right?
I think so. Gomer Pyle USMC or whatever.
Yeah, so I went to the town, the actual town that the show's based on, and I got to see fun little relics they have around town. They have a restaurant called Aunt B's Restaurant. I didn't go to it.
Oh, yeah?
Because, coronavirus, but...
Obviously.
I saw it. I looked at it. I waved to it.
Damn, Rona.
Yeah. Have we ever done the Andy Griffith Show?
No, we haven't.
Okay, I thought we have.
In all honesty, no, we did Dennis the Menace, though.
Is that kind of related? Is it neighbors of the show?
We talked about it when we did Happy Days.
We did. Sure. I was like, okay, we did. Question mark.
I think we had to have because of Ron Howard.
That is true. All right. If we ever do Andy Griffith, we have to do the one where a lady pharmacist moves into town and the town is shook. Mm. The town is shook that there's a lady pharmacist.
Scandalous.
But then...
So shocking.
But then it becomes a potential love interest for Andy. Is that his name? Andy? Is that his name? Actually, Andy on the show? I forget. It's been a while.
Okay, I'm going to be honest. The Andy Griffith Show was never like one I sat down and watched.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And like I can hear Ryan going, God dang it, Kat, I talk to you about this show all the time.
Oh yeah. I definitely grew up with it, and I watched it here and there. I knew the theme song, and I recognized.
Yeah, like everybody knows the theme song.
It's been many, many years since I've last seen it, so I only remember I only remember snippets. I just remember that pharmacist episode that I saw on like MeTV maybe 2 years ago. And I was like, wow, this is wild.
I feel like it was something I always just like caught the end of.
Getting ready for something else, getting ready for another hot show.
Yeah.
Like
My Three Sons or something, I don't know. But it's also one of those shows where I feel like its syndication does not show all of the seasons. Like My Three Sons, where it just shows like the early years. Yeah,
because there's some wild cast changes on My Three Sons, I think, as the show goes on. I think some of the sons leave and they just bring in new kids, but they're like relatives, I think. They're like cousins, maybe.
Yeah, because they like adopt a kid or something. And
Yeah, it's been a while. And, well, because the show, we learned this doing the podcast, the show was on for an uncomfortable number of time. It was on 2 different networks.
Mm-hmm.
And... at some point, I think the episode, like the show is not as good as it used to be, but I don't know. It was a staple. They just kept it running. It's kind of like Grey's Anatomy today. It just keeps on going. That Energizer Bunny hasn't given up yet. I don't think, is Ellen Pompeo still even on the show? I don't even know, to be honest with you.
Yeah, she's like the only one.
She's the only one. Yeah.
She chased away every other cast member, let's be real.
I know more. I've never seen an episode of Grey's Anatomy, but I know about the behind-the-scenes drama more than the show.
For real.
And the behind-the-scenes show sounds more exciting than the actual show.
Like, I remember I got the first season on DVD, and I tried to watch it, and then just no. I don't think I even got past the first disc.
I did watch it, I think, when it first came out, because I actually liked Katherine Heigl back then, because she was coming off the Roswell hype.
Yeah, see.
And I was like, ooh, Katherine Heigl's back on TV, back on our screens. And I don't know. I just didn't like her character. Izzy, I think was her name. I didn't like Izzy. Wasn't down with the Iz.
I think so, yeah.
I just stopped watching it. I just canceled it off my TiVo or my basic cable DVR. Not TiVo. I wasn't cool enough to have TiVo.
I once had TiVo. It was awesome.
I heard it's great. I heard great things about TiVo. But it's not relevant anymore. We don't need it. We don't need TiVo. We got Hulu and Crackle. We got Crackle where we can watch episodes of My Two Dads. Yeah. What are we doing today, Kat, also the author? I just kind of teased it.
We're doing one of the ultimate Michael Jacobs sitcoms, My Two Dads.
Yes, this was a show. It ran from 1987, September 1987, through April of 1990. You got 3 hot seasons.
Yeah.
It starred a few of our favorite people in the world. Paul Reiser.
Yes.
Greg Evigan. Stacey Keenan, who went on to Step by Step probably right after the show ended, I believe, right? Is this kind of line up with...
No, not right after. Because there was the show with, like... I don't remember. It was a TGIF show. Because she was one of those actresses who, like, appeared in a bunch of things, like, around the same time. Like, she was, like, the neighbor girl on some show called Going Places.
Oh, yeah, I just found it.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, it was Miller and Boyette Productions, the UGA, associated with Lorimar Television. Yeah, this was a show that was on from...
It was like Heather Locklear.
Oh, yeah. Jerry Levine.
Heather Locklear, Hallie Todd, the mom from Lizzie McGuire.
Holland Taylor. Oh.
Yeah.
We got to find this.
And Jerry Levine, who's the only face I don't recognize out of the cast in this picture. But I'm pulling up another one to see if it'll come up. Apparently not.
He played Styles on Teen Wolf, according to the internet, and he also...
That can't be right.
He'd been on episodes of Charles in Charge. He's been on episodes of Boy Meets World, Seinfeld, Monk, Will and Grace, Twilight Zone, the later one of the 2000-y ones.
Yeah.
So he's a guy. I don't know the face though. I don't know.
Oh, he was in the movie Teen Wolf.
Yeah, that's what. Did you think I was talking about the TV show?
There was an MTV TV show
which I've never seen.
That had really popular.
But I hear it's comparable to Buffy. That's what I've heard. That's what people have told me.
Oh. There, you recognize this guy. He was like all over the place in the 80s and 90s.
All right, hold on. Let's bring up a pic of him. Let's bring up a pic of our boy toy Jerry. Oh yeah, Jerry Levine. How do you?
Yeah.
Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Good for him. You know what? Hot career. He was on Iron Eagle, Born on the 4th of July, Casual Sex.
Oh.
I love it. I stand.
Yeah.
All right. So as I teased, we did the show My Two Dads. This is a show that we've talked about this quite a bit on the pod.
We've talked about this show okay, that's partially because I am obsessed with Michael Jacobs TV shows.
It's maybe 2 or 3 years ago. It was on Antenna TV for maybe a year or so, and you got into it, right? You watched as many episodes as you could.
It was. I don't think it was Antenna TV. It was something like that, though. It was like this random channel because the same channel had Growing Pains. Actually, it was Up TV. It's like the Christian TV channel.
Ooh, My Two Dads was it salacious? Too salacious to be on a Christian channel? Because I feel like this is going against everything that a Christian channel would believe in.
I mean, I don't know. But being the sucker I am for a good Michael Jacobs TV show, which, can we go over what his TV shows are?
Yes, let's do it.
For those who might not know.
Let's do an MJ corner.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to tell you, I have watched a good number of these, okay? And I'm sure you have too. Of course, there's Boy Meets World and Girl Meets World.
Obviously. Love them both.
My Two Dads.
Oh, yeah.
One of our absolute favorites, which is when I put the whole universe together, Charles in Charge, when we finally got that episode going.
Yes, our original first episode of the podcast, but it was such a hot mess. It was hotter than all the messes that have previously been laid out in this pod.
Yeah, it was, except for the burps.
So we just kind of put it on hold and we redid it like a year later. All right, keep going.
Yeah, and when I was watching it a year later, I'm like, this dialogue. I was like deep in my Riley and Lucas fandom, and I was like, man, this sounds like a Riley and Lucas conversation.
Yeah, I want to point something out about Michael Jacobs shows from everything that I've gathered from watching Michael Jacobs shows.
Yeah.
They're not the best premise. You know, you look at the premise of a show and you're like, okay, all right, it makes sense, but it sounds corny for what they are, just for being just kind of a basic run-of-the-mill sitcom. The writing, the acting, the directing, everything is always top-notch, and you just find yourself wrapped in these episodes.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I can't explain it. He's just prolific. Like, I feel like he should have thousands of more shows, but he doesn't.
He should. But we're not done with what his shows are.
No, we aren't.
We got more.
Let's do it.
Okay, because there's also the classic Dinosaurs. Yes, Dinosaurs is a Michael Jacobs joint.
Believe it or not.
Also,
Yes.
I think this is probably the other, like, big one that everyone knows, the Torkelsons.
Yes. I did not know that he did the Torkelsons until maybe a few months ago when we were talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, really?
And then there's a few others that I am sure you have heard of. There is the Zoe, Duncan, Jack, and Jane show from the CWWB
Oh,
way back in the day. It was WB back then.
I totally have watched that show.
I've watched it and I see it. Like, it's different than a lot of his, but I see it. I see. There's the show You Wish from TGIF with the genie.
Oh my goodness. I didn't even know he did that. I totally have seen that.
There is the show with Betty White and Marie Osmond and Chrissy from Growing Pains called Maybe This Time.
I've never heard of it.
There is actually a slight scene from Boy Meets World in that. I've watched it. It's all on YouTube.
Wowzers.
There's also the show called Where I Live, starred Dougie Doug.
What was the year that was on? Like 95-ish? I feel like that's like a 95-ish.
Yeah, that's 93.
Ooh, close. That was Dougie Doug's time to shine.
And then there's a couple other shows I've not heard of. Misery Loves Company, Singer and Sons, No Soap Radio, Together We Stand from the 80s.
All right, can I interrupt for a hot second? I have totally seen Misery Love Company. That was a Fox series. It was on, I believe, after Married with Children one year, or before. It was on a Sunday night.
Wait.
Ooh.
Hold on. I vaguely remember watching this. Yes. Now that I looked at the I was like, yeah, I kind of remember it has one of the girls from the Mickey Mouse Club in it.
Misery Loves Company?
Yeah. Had Nikki DeLoach. She was in the last, she was like the last group of people cast. She was the older girl cast with Christina and Brittany. She does a bunch of Hallmark movies now.
She was like the mom of the group, the older sister.
Older sister, yeah. She does a bunch of Hallmark movies now.
Ooh.
And then there's one more show from 2006 to 2009 called Beyond the Break.
I've never heard of that. Was that a cable show? Was that network or cable?
It was Team Nick.
Okay. All right.
And I don't recognize a single person in this cast except for two. David Chokachi and Jason Tam.
Who is David Chokachi? I know that name.
He was on Baywatch.
Yes, David Chokachi. Come back to us.
Yes.
Come back to us. Tell us what it was like being on Baywatch. He was on was he like on the middling years of Baywatch, I feel like?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, like when I came into the world of Baywatch, I feel like he was the star. He was the hot star. He was the hot male star, right? He was like the one to look at, the one who had abs.
He was one of them,
Did he have like blondish, kind of like blondish hair?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. I feel like he replaced David Charvet for some reason. I don't know why. I feel like they needed...
Yeah, I think so. I think he was in that transition.
They needed another Dave, so they grabbed Dave Chokachi. What's he been up to? What's the Choke been up to lately? The Chokachi.
Oh, let's see.
Modeling. Still? He's probably old.
Well, he is 52. He's from Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Oh, shit. Maybe we're neighbors. Maybe I, lived in the same cul-de-sac as him when I was growing up. I'll seek him out.
He says... apparently he's getting ready for a Baywatch reboot.
I'm intrigued. Color me intrigued. Because you know us. We love a good Baywatch. We love a good Baywatch episode. There's fun. They're fancy-free. So much going on.
The only thing I think I love more than Baywatch is a Michael Jacobs show.
Yes. Oh, you know what? What if Michael Jacobs did Baywatch? What if he put...
Oh my god.
If he just did, fuck it, I'm just going to do Baywatch. Might as make Baywatch a family situational comedy. You know, we got Mitch and his wife and his kids.
If anybody could. it would be Michael Jacobs.
And in the final episode of the series, he would find a way to say the word Baywatch as the final line.
Exactly.
He's like, wait, I'm watching the Bay. Yes. All right. So today, we're here. We're here to do the one and only My Two Dads. This is a series, as I said, it starred Paul Reiser, a then unknown Paul Reiser. He was mostly just a stand-up at this time.
Yeah, he wasn't very well known if he was known. Like, he maybe did a movie or two, I think, before.
But he was mostly known in the club scene.
But he was not the name for this cast.
He was, like, known from the late-night comedy club scene, probably. I picture, like, him at, like, a little New York City ha-ha joint, just telling jokes, and people really liked him. There was probably Michael Jacobs, one of his associates, was probably in the club that night. And they were looking for, I don't know, I feel like they were probably looking for some very specific type of comedy. Maybe it was kind of like a white-collar comedy.
Okay, so he was in the movie Diner, and he was in Aliens.
That is right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
He was in a lot of stuff, but it looks like he had, like, really, really, like, for the most part, kind of small stuff. Like, small roles, or just small movies.
Yeah, I have a question for you.
Yes.
I've never really seen Paul Reiser's comedy. Like, what kind of, like, was he a Seinfeld, like, observational? Like, what was his...
Honestly, I don't know. I don't think I've ever actually, like, seen his actual comedy act.
Does he tour?
I have no idea.
I don't know. I feel like Mad About You struck, like, you know, I feel like he was just in it for the fame. He just wanted, you know how a lot of comedians, their end game was to get on a sitcom. I feel like he hit My Two Dads.
Yeah.
That kind of put his name on the map. And then he hit Mad About You, and that was it. Like, he's just going to do TV shows from here on out. And the occasional movie, the occasional rom-com.
Bye Bye Love. I love that movie.
Yes, Bye Bye
I love
Love.
that movie so much. You don't understand. I just love that movie. I was so excited when it was on HBO Max.
Ooh, it is?
At least it was. It might have run out.
HBO Max has been around for a month. Things are already, like, expiring.
Yeah.
Awkward.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, because I watched it the other day. I, like, took out my phone, pulled up the Google Chrome little part, and played it on the TV, and I was like, I am in love. I love this movie with Paul Reiser, Matthew Modine, Randy Quaid, Janine Garofalo, Rob Ryder.
Wow, that's what a cast. What a hot cast. Hottest cast ever. All right. Can we talk about Greg Evigan? He's the other half of the series.
Yes, let's talk about Greg Evigan.
He was known for what? BJ and the Bear. That was his big role.
Yeah, BJ and the Bear.
All right, so
which was an American comedy television series on NBC from 79 to 81.
All right, I've never seen BJ and the Bear. I just know the name, and I just associate it forever, eternally with Greg Evigan.
Yeah, I mean...
Only...
I've never seen it either. I've never, like, come across this. I've never I never sat here and said, you know what? I should look up and see if there's BJ and the Bear full episodes on YouTube. You know, it's, like, never crossed my mind. All I know is it's about a guy and a monkey.
Yes. All right, so the only reason I know that is because in 1997, Greg Evigan was a star of a short-lived primetime soap on Fox called Pacific Palisades. He pretty much was the lead role.
Oh my god.
And I lived for that show. I love
that show. Oh my god.
Oh, it was so great. It had Michelle Stafford on it. It had
Finola Hughes.
Oh
my god, it had a fucking cast, man.
It had that guy that was in the Diet Coke commercials in the mid-90s, the one that everyone... Lucky Venus, I think his name was.
Oh my god.
It was supposed to be the next Melrose Place. It was about a little neighborhood in Pacific Palisades, just people in their 30s. They even had teens on the show. There was like a hot teen storyline.
Yeah.
It had the girl who eventually went on to play Tiffany on Sunset Beach. The second one was on that show too. It was such a... If any show should have lasted at least like 3 years, it should have been Pacific Palisades, because it was a great show. I don't know how it holds up today. I haven't seen it since 1997.
I know, man, but dude, it had...
Oh, it was a great show.
It had a hot cast. It had Natalia Sigaliuti. I can never pronounce that last name.
She was on Saved by the Bell, the new class.
Yes, she was Lindsay, and then she went on to... she was on All My Children. I cannot remember who she was on All My Children, though. Like I know it was one of the Santos girls, but I can't remember which Santos girl.
It's not important.
Yeah.
All right. And then we already talked about Stacey Keenan. She did this show. She did Going Places, Step by Step. She's now a lawyer. In 2009, she retired from acting and just went to law school. And now she's like a hotshot lawyer.
Awesome.
So going places, literally going places. All right. She's not the real star. I mean, they're the stars of the show, but we picked a very specific episode.
Yeah.
The episode that we picked, it's a season 2 episode from 1989. This aired March 22nd, 1989. All right, so you got to do the premise of the show because this kind of like ties into the guest star.
One summer, these two best friends, Michael and Joey, were, out of town. They were like up in the woods or something, and they both fell for this girl, Marcy.
Yes, Marcy.
And Marcy fell for both of them.
Yes.
She couldn't decide between the two. Like, there wasn't one that she loved more, apparently. And, the summer ended and they went their separate ways, but Marcy found herself pregnant, and it's like the 70s, so it's not like there's a DNA test you can take and with amniotic fluid or anything like now. So, she just raised Nicole. She had Nicole, a daughter, and raised her by herself, but then she got ill. She got sick. She passed away, and she left custody of her daughter to both potential fathers.
Yes. And so Nicole is 12 years old when Marcy passes away, right?
Yes.
All right. So the show basically opens. There's a judge, and the judge, who is also a main character on the show, the judge.
Yes, I love her.
Grants custody to, it's Michael and Joey. That's their names.
So, originally it's they share custody, but, they both, are very different people. Joey is this free-loving artist who lives in a loft. Michael is this Wall Street guy, super fancy. Yeah.
He's like an accountant maybe, or what is his job?
I don't know.
It's never really specified, but I know he wears suits to work every day.
It's kind of a lot like Chandler Bing. It's just one of those fancy office jobs no one really understands.
We just take it for granted. We just take it for what it is.
Yeah.
We just know he's a yuppie. He probably drives a BMW. Mm-hmm. He's like Patrick Bateman on American Psycho. He's just that kind of guy. He lives for the image. He has nice suits. He's got Kenneth Cole suits. Mm-hmm. He's got a briefcase. He works 9 to 5. He works in an office. He probably has a fax machine. He's got a hot secretary. And his best friend, Joey, played by Greg Evigan. All right, so Michael is Paul Reiser.
Yes.
Joey is Greg Evigan.
Yes.
And they're still friends, after all these years? Is that...
Well, not really. They haven't seen each other. What happened with Marcy when they were in Key West? It was Key West summer of 1974.
Ooh, I love it. Hot summer.
Yeah. They competed for Marcy's affection, and then, everybody kind of went their separate ways later on. There's rivalry between them because they both loved Marcy so much that there's a rivalry for them to prove that they both love Nicole so much at times, too.
Even though Marcy has passed away, mm-hmm. they're still kind of battling each other over the attention of Nicole, who is now a teenager. She's now a teen. She's starting to blossom into her own personality. And they're both dads are trying to instill their beliefs into Nicole. So, you got Michael, who's like, hey, you need to kind of pull things together. You got to think about college. And then you got Joey is like, fuck college, just be a free spirit like me. Is he an art? What kind of artist is he? Does he paint, or is he a musician, or all of the above?
No, he paints, he sculpts, he does all that kind of. He's a musician too, though.
All right, so he just kind of wants. You know what? Joey's just gonna give Nicole the tools mm-hmm. and just be like, just do what you want. Here's a guitar, here's a paintbrush, here's some modeling clay, here's some paper mache. Just do what you want. Just figure out what you're good at. I guess she kind of has both personalities. She's kind of adopted both personalities because a part of her, kind of wants to go to college, but she also kind of wants to be a wandering spirit and just kind of wander the world. And
yeah, I mean, she's during the series, she's 12 to 14, so it's not she's really defined herself yet,
Yeah, she's experimenting. She's experimenting in life.
And she's got these two, her mother was probably somewhere in between the two of them, because there's parts of her that connected with each.
Yes. All right, so the mom never appears on the show.
Yes.
Until this episode. In her dreams, Season 2 episode, In Her Dreams. So it's Nicole's 14th birthday, I believe, right? She's turning 14.
Yes, it's her 14th birthday. Joey has spoiled the living hell out of her with like 14 presents, including a really nice, like, red leather fringe 80s jacket that Jessica Wakefield would have died for in Sweet Valley High.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And Michael got her one gift, a Tiffany bracelet or watch, some type of Tiffany.
A watch from Tiffany's, like a really nice gold watch from Tiffany's.
Before she goes to bed that night, you know, she starts talking about her mom to the guys, and the guys get nervous, you know, whenever Nicole talks about the mom, I think. Like, at least in this episode, they're kind of like, because it's a soft spot for them. You know what? They came together.
It is, because they had a summer in Key West, and that was years ago, and it ruined their friendship, and now they share a daughter. It's a weird, crazy situation.
Nicole goes to sleep, and she has a dream in which she envisions what her life would be like if her mother was still alive, but she sees it from both sides. So she pitches Michael and Marcy are couple, and on the other end, Joey and Marcy are couple. But hold on. The role of Marcy, the mom, is played by the one and only Emma Samms. Emma fucking Samms. Woo! Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yay.
Yes. We're so excited for Emma Samms. You know and love Emma Samms. She was the second Fallon on Dynasty and the Colbys.
Yes.
She is Grayson on Models Inc. She was supposed to be kind of like the vixen character that they brought in the second season, the Amanda Woodward type. Mm-hmm. For those who don't know what Models Inc. is, that was the Melrose Place spinoff.
Yes.
And it didn't do too hot in the ratings. It wasn't too hot in the ratings. So they really wanted to spice things up. So they added Emma Samms to the cast. And oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. It made that show 1,000 times better. That is a series that I need to find.
That show had so many cast changes.
Oh, I love it. Great,
oh my god.
Great show. And Emma Samms is also on General Hospital.
Yes. Holly Sutton from General Hospital.
Yes.
The last I checked, Holly was declared dead.
Really?
Off screen. Yeah.
Okay. And
it was like right before the Rona.
Good to know. So yeah, Emma Samms just kind of she appeared on a lot of TV shows. She was on episodes of Murder, She Wrote, Newhart, Ghetto Life, which was a Fox sitcom. She is in an episode of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. She is just like, I wish she was in more stuff. Like, I don't know. It saddens me that, you know, she doesn't make more appearances, but you know what? We appreciate what we have. And hold on, we actually reached out to her on Twitter. We actually tweeted her.
Yes.
And we asked her if she could come up with some, you know, memories or some behind the scenes stories that she experienced on My Two Dads. But she said she would have to think about it, but that she did enjoy her time on this one episode. So that's all we got.
Aww. That's all we got, but we got something.
We appreciate it. We appreciate you, Emma Samms. We love you. You are amazing.
You are forever a gal pal.
You're the better Fallon.
The one abducted by aliens.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So there's a new Dynasty on the CW currently right now. Do you know what would be a great stunt cast? To get Pamela Sue Martin and Emma Samms on the show together, playing, I don't know, maybe like sisters or something, and they're like an off-distant relative of the current Carringtons.
I haven't watched the new Dynasty since like the second episode.
I started to watch it, but it came out at a time where things just started getting too busy for me, so I had to 86 the show.
Yeah.
So I just was like, all right, I'll come back. I'm going to come back to it, though. I'll come back to it one day.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix right now, all 3 seasons, and probably the next one that comes out.
Maybe when I finish my very slow Heart of Dixie rewatch, I'll drop into Dynasty.
Dip in, see what, see who's currently playing Alexis.
See who's currently playing Crystal.
Yes. I think there's been 3 seasons so far, and I think they've recasted her twice, maybe?
I think so, yeah. Because I know the original actress was on The Baker and the Beauty.
Oh, yeah. Now canceled, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
R.I.P. Come back to us.
Such a shame.
All right, so we're going to get into this wild episode. I just really want to talk about the loft apartment, just the decorations in there.
It's so 80s. It's like the paper cup design from the 80s
There,
with the aqua and the purple.
yeah, there's neon colors. They have those like glass cubes in there as like,
Hmm.
makes up the island, like the kitchen island. You know, those like glass cubes that you'll see at a restaurant, maybe.
Or a bathroom.
Yeah, it's just the wildest. It's the wildest set.
Oh my god, I thought all New York lofts looked like that when I was a kid.
I know. I was like, I couldn't wait to grow up, just be a single guy in New York City, have my hot loft, be in my hot loft with the crystal glass cube architecture.
And the family court judge living downstairs.
Yeah, I was. You know what? I meant to bring this up earlier, but I just thought of this right now. So the '80s was mostly known for these family sitcoms, these traditional family sitcoms. You have all these families that live in the suburbs. You have like
Yeah.
the Keatons, you have the Seavers, you have whoever else. There's so many of them. And then the few shows that you got where, you know, the families lived in the city, there were always these like untraditional families. Like you have My Two Dads. It was just, you know, two dads and a girl.
Yeah.
Like different strokes. You had just like a widowed guy and he adopts kids. Even Webster's like that.
Webster's a whole other thing.
Yeah, Webster's another level. But is there a show from the 80s or early 90s that like a family sitcom that involves them living in the city and not a suburb? Because I could not think of one.
I can't think of one either.
So I was trying to think like what is the scope here? Like what was the mindset that families can't live in the city like traditional families?
Or if they did exist, they didn't last very long, so they're not in our like mind.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought that was kind of a weird.
Because maybe that show that had the Golden Girls kitchen first, maybe that took place in a city, but I don't even remember what it was called.
I don't know. I kind of was making this weird connection last night when I was watching this again, and I was connecting those dots, and I just found it kind of odd. But are you ready to get into this world? We kind of started it, so we're just going to kind of keep going in. So the first dream sequence we get is Nicole envisions what her life would have been like with Michael and Marcy.
Yeah.
Briefly takes us away from the loft. We're in a whole new loft, so to say. It kind of looks the same. It looks like the same set.
We are in Michael's New York condo.
Yes, condo, penthouse. I feel like penthouse is the word that should have been used.
Probably.
It's very. It looks like the same set, but they just redecorated it. But it's very boring. It's the wildness of the loft that Nicole lives in currently is just stripped away. It's weekend. It's not fun. It's boring. And I don't know. I feel like Michael works late nights. Michael's working on these late nights on some project that he's working on.
Crunching numbers.
Crunching numbers. He's got that giant calculator with like the printer in it, the little printer wheel that brings out the numbers. Working out. Maybe there's a merger or an acquisition coming up.
There's something. There's some Wall Street type thing we just don't know about. Because we're not Wall Street types.
Nope. He's watching the ticker. He's watching the ticker every day. He's got clients calling him. He comes home, and it's Nicole's birthday. It's her 14th birthday. And so, what would this make her, a freshman? She's like a freshman in high school?
Yeah. If not this season, it's the next season where she's definitely in high school.
All right. So, she's getting ready for high school, we'll say. We'll say she's getting ready for high school. And Michael's like, both Michael and Marcy are like, hey, you know what? You're 14 now. You know, you're going to be out of the house in like 4 years. We really need to start thinking about extracurricular activities. We need to get you in some clubs, like the Key Club at school, some kind of club. Maybe the Young Republicans. You got to get involved. Civics classes. We got to get you in this world. We need you to get into a reputable school. Like I went to I feel like he says the name of the college that he went to, but we're just going to say Yale. Like, as a Yale graduate, I want you to follow my footsteps.
Princeton,
okay.
I think it's Princeton.
I want you, I'm friends with the admissions office. Like, we go way back. We hunt fox together. We hunt quail. We get, we're just in some snooty little hunting club. We don't hunt things that are dangerous because, no way.
Yeah.
We get to hunt the weak animals because we're just weak men with calculator wrists. The heavy lifting that we do is carrying our briefcases across New York City on the subway. That's like the heavy. They didn't even take the subway. They drive in their BMWs. They're like BMW convertibles. It's gonna be all showy.
Yeah.
They have their giant brick cell phones. They make calls. They make meetings. All that kind of stuff. Nicole's nervous. She's like, I'm just 14, guys. Like, I just want to be a teen. I just want to be a young teen. Well, actually, hold on. There's an invisible Joey in the room, right? Like, Joey's kind of there.
Yes, there's an invisible Joey, like, trying to kind of pointing out that, yeah, like, well, this looks great, but there's stuff missing in this life.
He's like, yeah, you know what? Like, maybe, yeah, do your homework when you get home from school. Get ahead a little bit. Work on your project. Work on your hot project. You know, maybe do the solar system project with the styrofoam balls that you paint and paint the planets. That's not enough for art. I want you to have fun with art. I want you to just kind of create what's in your soul. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can be the next Jackson Pollock or something. Who knows? Like, you can create the next big movement.
Yeah.
And it's just an eternal struggle that she deals with through this little segment. And things are just getting worse. Things are getting worse in the house, in this fictional house.
So, Nicole kind of, like, snaps out of that dream after she has, like, a little freak out about how this isn't perfect. She wants this, 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 this. And she wakes up and she, like, goes up downstairs and realizes she's now in a world where her parents are just Joey and Marcy. And it is complete opposite of Marcy and Michael. There's no structure. They're like, you want to go to school?
Yes.
Don't you want to go see the Picasso exhibit instead? And she's like, well, I could go to school for half the day. And they're like, you want to go to school? We're not making you go to school, Nicole. It's like this complete different, wild, chaotic life.
And meanwhile, they're working on some kind of like paper mache project in the middle of the loft. They have like newspapers down, and there's like weird little legs or something sticking out of the ground that they're trying to cover up. And
yeah, it's something abstract, and we can't tell what it is because it's far from complete. It's not as bad as like Marie Baron's sculpture on Everybody Loves Raymond.
No, not even close. We kind of like brushed over Joey a little bit. So Greg Evigan's style, like his look in this, is insanity to me. I don't know. He has this like perfectly sculptured like chin strap beard thing. And it's just
yes, he's got like the very perfectly manicured beard, 100%.
And it's like an almost mullet, but not quite a mullet. I don't know how to describe it. Like he is just the epitome of like Miami 80s to me for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's very much that like cool 80s bachelor kind of deal who's fun and carefree, while Paul Reiser's like very much the epitome of the 80s yuppie business guy.
But it's funny though, because this is Nicole's dreams. This is her, inner conscious speaking. So like the way projecting these images, were on a deeper level, the way that she envisions her dads. Like her dads, this is just how she sees her dads. If you really think about it, like this, she just sees Joey as just this wandering free spirit who just works on these wild abstract things, and she just pictures Michael as this guy who just comes home and has a briefcase and there's files everywhere. He's got the little accordion style folder with all the data in there. It's wild. And Marcy is just kind of in the middle of it. She just plays both roles like perfectly. It's night and day. It's great. I love it. It's wild. Like the fact that they got Emma Samms to do this is just beyond belief to me. I don't know. Like, it just made me wish that I could see more of Emma Samms as Marcy.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be hard watching like another episode and just Emma Samms isn't in it. Like, I want more Marcy. I want like a Marcy spinoff. I want to see Emma Samms as Marcy in 1974.
Do I need to remind you, my dear, that unfortunately Marcy was dead at this point?
I know, but maybe back in the days, right after this episode aired, maybe they could have Michael Jacobs could have said, "Hey, let's just do a Marcy show, like before she had passed away." We got to see Marcy like in the 80s, just being Marcy. We got to see both sides of Marcy. That would have just been a great time. I don't know, lost opportunities. Michael Jacobs, we can still do it. You can find somebody. You can find somebody to play Marcy.
Tweet us, Michael Jacobs. We're at Very Podcast.
Yes, please do. Please do.
Okay, and I have an answer to your crazy question. I was curious about your question, like, was there ever, like, a nuclear family sitcom that took place in a city in the 80s? And I was like, I think that one show that had the Golden Girls kitchen first. It was called It Takes Two, and it was starring Richard Crenna, Patty Duke Aston as a married couple, and he's a doctor, she's an ADA. The spark in their marriage is kind of gone. They butt heads a little bit politically. They're still married, though. And they have 2 kids, played by Helen Hunt.
Whoa.
And Anthony Edwards.
Whoa.
I think we talked about this like once way long ago.
I feel like we did.
But I'm just like, I'm reading the synopsis of the series right now, and it's like, the description is Sam and Molly had 2 teenage children, carefree and sometimes smart alecky daughter Lisa, Helen Hunt, who was in high school, and all-around cool customer Andy, an aspiring rock musician who, at 18, was moving into his own apartment. However, like many young adults in TV series who were attempting to break away from the parents, Andy would still find a reason to drop by so that Sam and Molly could help with his responsibilities.
What years was this show on?
This show is on from October 14th, 1982 to April 28th, 1983.
Okay, so it wasn't on that long. It was very short-lived.
No.
But it gave us a young Anthony Edwards, a young Helen Hunt.
Patty Duke Aston.
Yeah, Patty Duke Aston.
Yes.
Aston, yeah. Mother of Sean Aston and Mackenzie Aston.
Oh, Della Reese was also on this.
It's like, do you ever just picture that there's just an alternate reality out there where all these shows were bigger than they were in our world?
There has to be, yeah.
Like, Growing Pains is unknown, but It Takes Two was the biggest thing ever.
Like the hit.
We need that world. We need that world. All right, so let's tie it back to My Two Dads. Let's reel it in. Nicole wakes up. She wakes up from both dreams.
She's still kind of in a dream.
She is. So what happens? What happens, Cut Halston?
She sees her mother. She's like, Mom, I had a dream you were with Michael and it was perfect, but I had a dream you were with Joey and it was fun. And she's like, I don't get how the 2 of them, you, made any sense at all. She's really confused. She's like, I miss you. Am I forgetting you? What's happening? And Marcy's like, I'm still with you. I love you. But you have Joey and Michael and you love them and that's okay.
And then she kind of says, she'll always be here.
Mm-hmm.
And, she like kisses her on the forehead or something and she walks out of the room, but she like disappears as she walks through the door.
Yeah.
And then Nicole wakes up from her dream and she's like, wow, like, you know what? I love my 2 dads.
Yeah.
They're great. My 2 dads are the best. Nobody else has 2 dads.
Yeah. It's not a concept anybody thought of back then, really.
To take it on the next level, so in like the last episode of the show or near the end, Nicole actually gets a paternity test done.
Okay, so the guys get in a fight. The guys get in a fight with each other, and they have a paternity test done, and Nicole is pissed because she doesn't want to know. She doesn't see a reason to know. And they burn the results in like the oven or something.
But doesn't the judge read it though before they throw it in the oven? The judge looks at it.
I don't know, because I feel like she did. I can't. That's one of the episodes I haven't been able to watch. It's one of the episodes I want to watch and I haven't been able to.
We'll find it. All right, we have to talk about the judge.
Like, I have this memory of it from childhood. This is what I'm going on. The memories, like 30-year-old memories of this.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about the show. So it came out in 1987.
So
read to 1990. So we were like 6 years old when the show came out. Kind of too young for us to like really get into.
Yes.
But I definitely dabbled in it. It was on early enough where
it was that show like, ooh, that show's on, because you'd hear the theme song and you knew the show.
Yeah. So I think it was on early enough. Like, it wasn't on past my bedtime, so I might be able to watch some of it, or at least watch the show. It kind of faded away from memory. Like, I don't remember sitting down and really watching the show. I remember it being on USA in the 90s, watching it then too, but I don't remember specific episodes. But for some reason, I always remembered this episode. I don't know why. And I always thought this was the first episode for some reason. I don't know why in my mind. I just envisioned this as the first episode. Because I remember a few years ago when we were talking about this, I said, oh, in the first episode, Emma Samms plays the mom. And then you're like, oh, no. I saw the first episode. She's not in it. Like, I think you're imagining this.
Yeah.
And then like a week later, you were like, oh my God, I just saw this. It just aired on Up TV. It's a dream sequence episode. I'm like, oh, a dream sequence. Okay. I'm like, okay, it makes sense. I'm like, at least I know I didn't imagine it, because I'm like, why would I just randomly make up an episode of My Two Dads with Emma Samms?
Why would you randomly cast Emma Samms?
6-year-old me, 7-year-old me, whatever, how old. No, this episode aired in 89, so we would have been what?
7, 8, depending on what time of year.
Like, why would 7/8-year-old me make up this episode with Emma Samms in it?
It would have been like Meredith Baxter or something like that.
Not many 8-year-olds know who Emma Samms was, but I did because my parents watched Dynasty and they watched the Colbys, and I watched like every episode of Models Inc. So
I mean,
Emma Samms was a star in my house. I was like, oh,
same, because my mom watched General Hospital and Dynasty.
yeah, it's like she was a name that I knew, and
Holly was one of my mom's favorite characters on General Hospital. I mean, I'm pretty sure my mom was a Holly and Robert fan over Robert and Anna.
what about Bigger Than Luke and Laura? Bigger Than Luke and Laura?
Okay, Luke and Laura were like the thing in my household.
You have statues.
They are the reason I watched General Hospital.
You have a Luke and Laura statue in your house.
When they came back.
A bust.
Okay, I remember like my mom cheered when she found out Laura was returning and Anthony Geary was going to start playing Luke again.
Wow.
Because I remember being in like the other room and going, Mom, what are you excited about? She's like, my favorites are coming back to General Hospital. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm going to go back to watching TGIF.
Yeah, I kind of had like a similar experience. I remember, I don't know what year that was, but I just kind of remember
93.
93. My mom was like cloud nine over the thought of Luke and Laura reunited on television. I'm like, Luke and Laura?
Like, we didn't get it.
Yeah, like she explained the whole thing to me, and I was still like, I guess you had to be there. But then she was like, more people watched Luke and Laura's wedding than like Princess Di's wedding, and it was an event.
Yeah, like, because this is like right around the time I was getting into soap operas. At this point, I was watching Another World when I was like home from school, so I'd catch up with like the Grant, Vicky, Ryan triangle, or Jake and Paulina. And like I was like dipping my toes into All My Children because Sarah Michelle Gellar was on playing Kendall. So like I didn't get like these couples were big. And then like when they were coming back to General Hospital, Mom's like, you gotta watch. You'll understand when you watch. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And like we started watching a few days before they actually like came back.
You're watching like the ramp up to it, the build up.
And I fell in love with the characters of Felicia and Lucy and Karen and Jagger and Brenda at the Quartermains. And then we get this like Friday afternoon, we're suddenly in British Columbia and they're at a diner and it's Luke, Laura, and their son Lucky. And I'm like, wait, there's a character my age? Okay, hold on.
Ooh, sign me up. Was it Jonathan Jackson then?
Yes, it was.
Shout out to Jonathan Jackson. Star. A true star. Went on to Nashville. Became a star on Nashville.
Camp Nowhere.
Oh, yeah. Who can forget? The illustrious career of Jonathan Jackson. He should have been a bigger star. He should have been like the Luke Perry of our generation. Well, I mean, Luke Perry was the Luke Perry of our generation, but...
I'm like, Luke Perry...
Well, he was like slightly older than us. Like a hell of a lot older than us, but you know what I mean.
I'm like,
you know what I mean.
I get it. No, I get it.
He should have been the late 90s Luke Perry, but it never happened.
No, it didn't.
On a scale of 1 out of 5 abstract papier-mâché legs in a loft living room, how many abstract papier-mâché legs in a loft living room, would you give this episode of My Two Dads? Because hold on. We know, Kat is hard to please. You're hard to please.
I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to give it, I'm going to give it the same. It loses points just for its general corniness. Overall, the story's good. But I would say this is definitely the definitive episode of My Two Dads for me. Like this, when I think of My Two Dads, I think of this episode. I don't know about you. I don't know what you think of.
For you, yes. I know I've seen every episode. I just haven't seen like the last half of the third season in a really long time because it keeps just like not getting rerun when I find it. But I mean, This show, oh, you have like all this great teen stuff with Nicole trying to figure stuff out, like Joey and Michael trying to figure out the rules. I mean, we didn't really get Klawicki in this episode. Like he kind of showed up, but not really.
Yeah, we didn't talk about Vonnie Ribisi.
We didn't get the fun like little triangle with Giovanni Ribisi and Chad Allen.
Yeah. Hold on. So I always thought like Giovanni Ribisi was the same age as us, but he's like a little bit older. This kind of like shocked me when I watched this episode. I was like, wait, it's 1989 and Giovanni Ribisi. I mean, Vonnie Ribisi. That's what he went by in the credits. Vonnie Ribisi is like a preteen.
Yeah, he's 45 right now.
I didn't realize he was that much older.
Yeah,
but you know what? It makes sense because he was like on Friends. Like he was like a love interest on Friends.
No, he was the brother.
Oh, I forget. I don't remember.
Are you getting him and Sean Penn confused?
Wait, why would I confuse Giovanni Ribisi with Sean Penn?
I don't know, but that's what I'm trying to figure out. Because Sean Penn played Phoebe's love interest who was stalking Ursula.
Oh, yeah. Vonnie Ribisi is Ursula's brother.
The brother.
I forget.
Frank Jr., who she had the babies for.
We've talked about this before. I'm not like hugely into Friends. Like I'm aware of it. I've seen it. I've seen episodes, but I'm not part of the storyline. We've dipped into that world. But I always like thought Giovanni Ribisi was like born in 1981 or 1982, and we graduated at the same year. But no, he's like a little bit older, and I always forget that for some reason. So this kind of like shook me at my core. I was like, wait, Vonnie Ribisi? You mean Giovanni Ribisi?
Yeah, like it's one of those things where you're just like, okay.
Yeah, it makes sense and it doesn't make sense.
The old manager's like, hey, you should be Vonnie Ribisi.
It's kind of funny though because Nicole is going through the same thing with Vonnie Ribisi and Chad Allen that Marcy went through. So she's kind of experiencing the same thing as her mom, where you got these two guys just vying for her attention.
Yeah,
and I'm sure as the show, if the show had continued, like if the show like went on for another couple years, who knows? Maybe we would have gotten like final season Nicole. It's like season 7 or something, where she's now 18 or 19.
Okay, can we be real though? Michael Jacobs loves a good triangle.
Yes,
he has very like consistent character types that get placed into all the shows. Because, like, remember what I said earlier when we were doing the Charles in Charge episode for realsies, like the third time we tried it, and I was watching it, I stopped and said, this sounds like something Riley and Lucas would say on Girl Meets World. And then I realized Michael Jacobs wrote Charles in Charge. But when I came across this, again, in the reruns, I saw a lot of similarities between the Riley, Maya, Lucas, Farkle kind of grouping and Corey and Sean and Topanga kind of grouping and Eric kind of grouping.
All right, I have a hot question for you. A hot question.
With the younger characters. It was really interesting.
Who do you think that Nicole would have picked? Vonnie or Chad Allen?
I think they could have introduced a wild card into that and just... Because, I mean, they were still young. They were like 14.
Or was there an end game? Was there? Do you think there was an end game, or were they just going to introduce like a wild card?
Yeah, so like they started like this slow build with Vonnie's character, Giovanni's character, and then they threw in this cuter, more attractive guy who Nicole had known from summer camp, who moved to the city and was going to their school, and there was definitely this like push and pull between the guys. But Nicole was kind of like leaning towards Chad, but there was still this lingering thing with Vonnie.
In my memory, they didn't really develop because they both have a thing for Nicole. Nicole's kind of just battling them off. She's not really into boys yet, but I feel like the show is slowly building up to that world, but we didn't quite get that far.
I feel like the best way to figure that out is to watch Zoe, Duncan, Jack, and Jane. Because, again, same sort of, like, dynamics in a weird way, but that show was a bit more adult.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know.
Than the others.
Who knows what, if the show was more successful than it was, who knows what would have happened. I just, like, trying to picture, like, what a wild, last season where it's, Nicole's in college now. She's like 19. Maybe they all went to the same college because, that's how television works. And she has to make a decision. She has to make a choice. I can only imagine what Michael Jacobs' teenage years were like. I can only imagine. He just has this constant inner turmoil in his shows that he projects into all the series. We need to sit down with Michael Jacobs one day, just talk to Michael Jacobs and just find out.
Dude,
pick his brain.
I would die.
Literally pick his brain.
I would just die.
Is he on Twitter? Is Michael Jacobs on Twitter?
Yes, he is.
All right, we'll tweet him later. We'll say, "Hey, Michael Jacobs, we need to know. We need to have the definitive interview with Michael Jacobs as done by Cat and Pats coming together, coming at you." Coming at you. You know what? It'll be a very special episode of a very special podcast. How about that? All right. Any last minute thoughts? Any last minute thoughts on My Two Dads, on Michael Jacobs, on Stacey Keenan, on Emma Sams, Craig Evigan, Paul Reiser, Giovanni Ribisi? Anything related to this world?
I apologize for getting Chad Allen and Chad Lowe confused so many times. Because it happens a lot.
It happens. And the Chads. You got the two Chads.
I can't tell them apart, okay? I'm sorry.
It's all right. We forgive you. Sorry.
I always have to Google this. I always have to Google it.
Chad Lowe is Life Goes On. And Chad Allen is The Show.
And I literally thought Chad Allen was Chad Lowe on Life Goes On. Is Chad Lowe related to Rob Lowe?
I thought they were. I thought they were connected somehow. I thought they had a...
They have to be, right? Oh, he's the younger brother of Rob Lowe.
Yeah, I knew they had a connection. Because I used to mix up Chad Lowe and Rob Lowe.
Really?
This is before Rob Lowe, to me anyway, was a thing. I mean, maybe he was a thing to people older than us, but...
Oh, okay.
I just knew him as the guy in Wayne's World. And in St. Elmo's Fire, but...
I love me some Rob Lowe, though, man. Ugh.
Did you almost see the Rablow, too? Did you almost see the Rablow?
Yeah. But, I like his podcast, too. It's fun. It's just, listening. It's him and a friend just, chatting about stuff.
Literally? With Rob Lowe? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
All right, listen to it. When you're not listening to us, listen to Literally with Rob Lowe. But come back to us. Come back to us, please. All right.
Yeah, come back to us, please. We'll miss you if you don't.
I'm excited about next week. I'm really excited about next week. We're going back into a world that we've dipped into once before.
Is this the one I think it is?
Oh, yeah. We're dipping back into... We're going up north. We're going to the far north. We're going into a small town with an inn ran by a couple. And it stars one of the greatest comedic actors of all time.
Yes, one of our absolute favorites. I think we can both say we love this man.
Yes, without a doubt.
We will stop and watch something with this man.
Yes, without a doubt. We love ourselves.
I'm pretty sure we need to be tracking down some episodes of another show this man was on.
And we will. But next week, we're going to go into his 80s, early 90s classic, Newhart, starring our boy, Bob Newhart. You know him, you love him. We've done an episode of Newhart. We've done an episode of the Bob Newhart Show. We've dipped into both big worlds, both of them. But we're going back to Newhart. We're going back to Vermont, seeing what things are going on there. Maybe we'll pick a Larry, Daryl, and Daryl episode. Who knows what we'll do?
Yeah.
Who knows? But we're going to do it. So join us next week when we go back to Newhart.
Yay!
Where can you follow our wild adventures, Cat Hall said the author? Where can you follow us?
You can follow us on Twitter at Very Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Tumblr, at A Very Special Podcast. Do not accept imitations, because imitators are lame.
They sure are. And don't forget to check us out on Patreon. We have a hot new Patreon page in which you can listen to some hot bonus content. We got our Commercial Corner series, in which we talk about commercials, old-timey commercials, which we just relive. And we also have our Movie Night podcast, in which we just dip back into movies of our childhood, teens and early adult years, and we just kind of see if they hold up and see what's going on in that world today. And we got all other kinds of fun stuff. Kat's got her Getting Catty thing on YouTube. Watch that.
Yes.
Watch that. I got Wine-O-Two-One Bros, and I got Red Wine and Mystery Stories if you want to hear some more wild adventures. So check them all out. Do it often. Do it all the time. Do it every day. That's all I got to say. You can live our lives. All right. As always, girl. As always.
Bye!
Watch the skies for a giant banner that says, "Cast Emma Samms in more things."